in 3 minutes. Lynn Cullen goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Thank God it's Friday. Hi, it's the 15th of January, 2016. And, I read a lot of stuff. I'm reading all day, all night. That's all I do is read. I read and read and read and read, looking for fodder. And even if I weren't doing the show, you know what I would do? I'd read and read and read and read and read. I can tell because I can't stop. I mean, it's just what I do. So in the course of my reading since I woke up this morning, the one piece of information that I came across, which blew my mind, and I happened upon it, it was just one fact in the Post-Gazette, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette today, says this. The subject is a goose or geese. Geese, an individual goose. I'm trying to say this delicately. A goose can let loose here's the average, 1.5 pounds of poop a day. A goose. Jeez. I mean, stop and think of that. How do you do that? Is the body how much are you... 1.5 pounds per bird. And what it comes down to is they are relieving themselves every 7 minutes. And I'm thinking, well, what that did is it put me in mind, actually, of the Republican debate last night. Talk about a lot of crap and being dropped every 7 minutes. Pounds of it. The geese got nothing on these Republicans. Oh, my God. Okay, I almost made it to the end. Almost. But that's 2 hours. I think it's a little more than 2 hours. 2.5. Okay, so I didn't. I bailed at about 10 to 11, I think. I'll say this, and I said it before. Fox and this particular crop of Republicans knows how to put on a show that is not a dull presidential debate. I mean, it is. It's just like a series of train wrecks. You don't know what's going to happen next. I lost all control. I was tweeting left and right, and I probably annoyed anybody who was on the receiving end. I just couldn't. I couldn't stop. There was an impetus to want to say something about more often than a geese poops. Let's just put it that way. It was just a goose poops. Jeez. Did you see the New York Daily News great cover today? As you know, Cruz accused. This is a dog whistle remark that's supposed to get all Republicans to immediately, run screaming. If you mention New York values, New York, it's a New York, and that's a dog whistle. And he had made a statement about Trump having New York values. And the New York Daily News, a tabloid, has a picture of the Statue of Liberty like this. As the Statue of Liberty with her right finger raised, and it says, "Drop dead, Ted. You want New York? We'll give you some New York. Drop dead, Ted." And it added, "Go back to Canada." So I've often thought, these dog whistly things. New York, when New York is whistled, it has in the past often meant Jews. So, Jews know this. So if somebody says, well, it's a New York kind of, New Yorkers, it means often it's a dog whistle to anti-Semites. Cruz suggested that what he meant is there aren't many conservatives in New York. But of course, Ted Cruz, when he wants to go begging for money, he goes straight to New York. His biggest beneficiaries ply their trades in New York. So what a bunch of hypocrisy. By the way, another Republican, Congressman Peter King of New York, he went ballistic when his fellow Republican Cruz said something. And you know what King said? And we've talked about how much Cruz is detested by everybody. His fellow Republican, Peter King, said this: "Go crawl back under your rock." Oh, yeah. That's from a Republican. So, writing in the Times, Jim Dwyer, who writes about city issues, said, all Cruz presents us with is the familiar spectacle of a politician denouncing New York while simultaneously collecting bags of money there to pay for his campaign. It occurred to me while watching this thing last night that Donald Trump now is not the Donald Trump that began the campaign. Donald Trump now, he's becoming a politician. His demeanor is more focused. He's appearing more, God forbid, presidential. I'm beginning to think the unthinkable, that he's going to pull this off. I haven't seen any polls since the debate last night, but Donald Trump lost no ground last night. As a matter of fact, he only lost one round, and as well he should, I think. And it's when Cruz took him on about the particular Cruz birther situation. I mean, I thought Cruz, Cruz is no dumbbell. Boy, what an oily SOB he is, though. Wow. Oh, dear God. Shit. And then there's, Carson, who always sort of looks like you just woke him up, and he's like, he's somnolent. I think that's he has the eyes. He looks like his eyes don't see. He looks like a blind man to me. He does. He just sort of, and he has the affect of a blind man. He just sort of freaks me out. Oh, dear. Those were our potential presidents of the United States. Oh, man. And I look over at the Democrats, and I don't know. This is an awful election. This is just, it really is awful. I don't know what to say. But I will say this. Trump has learned how to handle himself in these debates. He's gotten much better. And it seemed the crowd was not quite with him. Doesn't rattle him. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Did you happen to see Rand Paul last night on the Matthews show?
No, I know I was having a snit fit and refused to show up at the secondary debate, but no.
Now, he's the only one that if you listen to him, he doesn't want to get involved overseas like these other people on the stage are.
Well,
he's the only one.
Well, no. Speaking of that, no, they all say, one of them was saying, might have been Cruz, it was so mind-boggling. He was saying how, this Obama, he's made us weak, and we got to build up our military. No, I think it was Christie. We do not want to be the policeman of the world. And then he starts talking about building up our military. And it was like so discombobulating because it made no sense. Well, look, okay, if you don't want to be the policeman of the world, why do you need to build up the world's overwhelmingly already largest military? That's what these Republicans, so they're now all pretty much saying, no, we don't want to police the world.
Oh,
but they do. But they do.
Yeah.
Except Rand Paul. That is true. But that's because he's a libertarian, and while you're drawn to that aspect of him.
Yeah, I don't like anything else about him.
Yeah, and then whatever. And then during the debate toward the end, it sounded like about 3 people started chanting, interrupted the debate, chanting, We want Rand. We want Rand. It petered out very quickly.
I think maybe Cruz might win Iowa, but I'm not sure about that. But if he does, it's not going to be by much. Trump will be right behind him. I think Trump will pull that out. I'm like you. I'm thinking Trump's going to be the nominee, which makes me happier than hell. I hope he is. He'll lose.
Yeah, but you know what? He could win.
I just don't think he could win. He just can't get the groups that you need to win, I think.
I would think you're right, but I mean,
But Democrats voted for Reagan, so.
The thing is, that is right. And Donald Trump, I've shared this information with you. If you look at his support is strongest among Reagan Democrats, that same group. People who are working class, white, and they're registered as Democrats maybe still, but they vote Republican. And you know who that is? That's half our neighbors here. That is up and down the Appalachian spine. It's certainly western Pennsylvania and central Pennsylvania and West Virginia. And all those are...
And then you get the ones that might even fall in that group, but they weren't crazy about Obama, but he did do some. You know what? I'm sick of both parties. I think I'll just throw up and vote for Trump. See what he can do now.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of those people that do that.
I know.
They vote against, their own.
I know.
Principles. I don't know what it is.
Oh dear. I mean, I got to tell you, this is getting scary to me. Well,
I really don't like either party that well.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't like the Republicans at all.
I don't either.
Democrats, I'm not real fond of.
No, I'm not either. They drive me crazy.
But the vote for the Republican, oh my God. Nuts.
Trump! For God's
sakes,
sakes, Donald Trump!
Oh, Trump, no. I don't want him.
Well, he's starting to look like he's a possible. I mean, the established Republican Party is at its wits' end. They're trying to take him down. You can see. You could see that with Nikki Haley's State of the Union response, where she went after him. And then you see it with a lot of others starting to speak out. They're trying to gang up on him. They're trying to take him down, and hasn't worked yet.
And he's acting more presidential.
Yes, he is.
He's starting to even look. It's scary.
Well, he'll have to do something with the hair if he wants to look it. But yeah, he is.
He won't have gray hair.
Yeah,
he's in there.
Right. He's just. It'll get oranger or something.
Yeah. Or fall out, maybe with bald.
I got to tell you, he's learning how to do this. He knows how to play the media and the reality show aspect of what this has become. He's brilliant at it.
Yeah, he's a salesman all the way.
And so even though he's not particularly articulate or eloquent, he seems like somebody who's talking straight, and that's the anti-politician that Americans are drawn to. I'll tell you, between him and Cruz, I've said this before, and I will say it again, I would take Trump, hands down.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God!
And that's pretty bad.
Yeah! Oh, God! I mean, it's like, I've often said in my career on the radio, I feel like we've fallen down the rabbit hole. Man. And if the Cheshire Cat pops up in a tree any second, I would not be surprised that Donald Trump is sustaining his lead in this now, 6-7 month old race? He's holding it.
And he matches up against Clinton, and he's pretty close to her, and some of them show that he's ahead of her, so what's that all about?
I can't imagine
that.
The
polls you can't always go by now, but it's kind of scary. Okay.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Pay no attention. Oh, my God. Drop dead, Ted. What a vile person. I mean, I know I said a month or so ago that I was sort of loving how Trump was making the Republican Party, insane. I mean, just must be making them crazy. But now, I mean, oh dear. I'm sorry. I'm just blah 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 blah. I'm just freaked. Oh, Lord, what have we come to? Okay. So let's talk about something else. Ooh, I came on this also today. This is a really ripe time for grifters, scam artists, because grifters and scam artists proliferate during times of exactly what we got going now, which is uncertainty, to say the least. Wait, got a call. Hello.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike from D.C.
Hi, Mike.
What's scary is that people actually think that Bernie Sanders could beat anybody in a general election.
And, okay, of the two, wait, that's a good, okay. Of the two, who would be the Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump? Who has the better shot in a general election?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, I
if
agree.
For no other reason than the Republicans are going to label him a Jew and a new Jew, like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And a
Sanders. Well,
socialist.
Sanders is a New York commie Jew.
Right.
Oh no, not a chance. As a matter of fact, I was thinking that on the way to work today. I was thinking about the dog whistle that Cruz did about New York values, which is often, very thinly veiled anti-Jew stuff too. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Bernie Sanders, they take him down on the commie kind of connection, but they'll take him down on the Jew. I mean, there's no way, guys. No way.
Jew York, they'll say.
Jew York.
They'll say whatever they... And just the subtle anti-Semitism that they can use, the dog whistle, that will get middle America to not even consider him.
Or Jesse Jackson, remember Hymietown? That's what he called it. Do you remember that?
And he'll be 80 when he's in office, running up against Rubio, who I think is probably really going to be their nominee.
I don't. He doesn't look ready for prime time. In a time when Americans are afraid, they're not going to vote for a guy who looks like he's, 2 days off his bar mitzvah. I mean, he just looks too young.
But, Lynn, this isn't about what America wants. This is about what the establishment, the GOP, wants. And to say that Donald's going to win this is to say that all those elite Republicans who run the GOP are going to just back off and say, okay, Donald, you can have our...
Yeah, but they've been trying to stop him. I mean, if they had the power to stop him, they wouldn't have stopped him by now. They can't...
They're waiting.
I don't know that they're waiting. They can't take him down. They don't know. They're trying.
Right.
They're trying.
Right. And that's why I think it's not going to be him. But if it is him and Sanders, we lose. And what I don't get is, does no one remember George McGovern?
I know. No, I know.
I love Bernie Sanders. He has great ideas. I wish we were a socialist country. I wish that people gave a shit about anybody else but themselves. But it's not that. Wake up.
Yeah. No, Bernie Sanders would no more win this country because you're right. There's the whole South. There's the West. There's middle. There's then anti-Semitic all over the place. And then there's, red scare kind of types everywhere else. He would be trounced.
And
guys.
Catholics, all of the Christian fundamentalists, Jews kill Jesus. The commercials write themselves.
Well, they wouldn't have to state it that clearly, but
right.
Yeah,
because we all know the dog whistle.
We do.
So liberals who think that America isn't anti-Semitic are just naive.
Yeah.
And that's a shame for Bernie Sanders. It really is, because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But do we want Donald Trump or Rubio or, God forbid, Cruz? Why are we sending up our B team when Hillary clearly has the kahunas?
I don't know, but I don't. Does she really? She's shown she can lose this kind of a race. She already has. I'm scared.
I watched.
She's
every
scaring
hour.
me.
I watched every hour of the Benghazi thing.
Oh God.
She can win. She made those. Senators who were representatives trying to make her look weak and effete and ineffective. She trounced them.
Yeah. Well, I know she's smart as hell. I just don't like her.
Yeah, I know. I don't particularly like her either, but she's competent.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, what does that have to do with anything? Since when did competence have anything to do with the way we elect a president?
So, if it's Trump, I'm telling you, I don't know what. I don't think I can handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll vote for Sanders, and I will hold. And when they start calling him all those horrible names, overtly or covertly, I will.
Look, Sanders can't make it. Sanders isn't going to get the nomination for the same reason that he wouldn't win a general.
But Democrats elect presidents differently than the Republicans do. Republicans pick a president because he's next in line, or because he's the one that will win the most. Mm-hmm. The establishment. They pick the candidate. We stupidly pick George McGovern and John Kerry and
Michael Dukakis,
who look good, who say what we want them to say. That's not how Republicans pick presidents. That's why I don't think it's going to be Trump.
Well, why would you think then Barack Obama had a shot? We picked him.
Because he's black. Sorry. And that sounds
he
racist,
won because you're saying he won because he's black?
Yeah. And we wanted to turn the page. We wanted to say enough with that whole Republican horrible thing. And yeah, I think he won because he's black.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think some people have tried to work out the metrics of how much his blackness got him votes. From people wanting to make history, I'm going to vote for the first black president, and then bringing out all the African-American voters. But also, you have to factor in all the racists who ran to the polls trying to prevent him.
But they wouldn't have voted for Hillary either.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have voted for Hillary either, and he's so eloquent. I mean, his State of the Union speech.
Oh, gosh.
How can you not like that guy? I don't get it.
Yeah, but that's because you have the... I know, but they hate him.
How can you say that speech was boring? Donald Trump with his 300-word vocabulary. That's dumb, and that's a loser, and that's stupid. Like, he knows 3 words. And they're going to pick him as his nominee? I don't think so. I think their establishment's too entrenched for that. Yeah. And if I'm wrong, I'll happily say it. But
all right, well, I have to just say this is getting scary to me. It always is scary. Mike, thanks.
Happy day.
Happy to depress me. Goodbye. Oh, God. Margie says this is a different kind of election. Yeah, see, that's always in the back of my head. This time is different, it seems. But it's not so different that America would elect Bernie Sanders. I'm sorry. Too much wrong with him. I mean, he's got some huge disqualifiers for so many Americans. His religion being a biggie, and his socialism. He's a socialist, being another. I mean, I'm sorry. Those are 2 huge negatives. Caller, hi.
Hello, Lynn. How are you?
I am fine.
was calling to say I agree with you. I would have agreed with you about Sanders, but we went to go visit family this past weekend, and we thought, oh, God, we're going to have to hear all about Trump, 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 and how wonderful he is. And these are people that still have their Romney-Ryan sign in their garage.
Oh, God.
Who do they like but Bernie Sanders?
Why?
Which blew us away.
Okay, because...
first of all, they feel he's for the common man, which
yes.
blew us away. We didn't even think they cared about the common man. And also the fact that him coming out saying about breaking up the big banks.
Yeah.
And that to them, as middle American farmers in the Midwest, really appealed to them.
Huh.
So it's an interesting dynamic. And as far as Trump, I really believe this in my heart and soul. The man doesn't want to be president. He really doesn't.
I think he started this.
He wants to be the kingmaker.
I don't know. He started this on a lark to get attention, to feed his ego. And now, I think in his head, you can tell by the way his demeanor has changed and how he's now thinking, good God, I could become the president. And I think, no, he likes the idea.
You know what? I just don't think so. And here's the thing that keeps popping into my head. When Trump came out in the early polls, way ahead of everybody, which shocked everybody, and everyone kept saying it was a fluke. The thing that scared me was he took a meeting with Ted Cruz. No one said what the meeting was about, what was going on, but that alliance kind of scared me a lot. Was Ted trying to say, I'll be your VP, or who knows what it is. I'm glad to see whatever's going on, there's now a growing friction between the two. But again, looking at that party establishment, and, their chickens have come home to roost. You made these crazy
That's
people.
right, you did.
You the ones that
you
fostered
cultivated a man. You nurtured.
You incubated them, and now they're not doing what you're telling them to do, and you don't know how to control it.
It's their Frankenstein monster.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's going to be someone like a Rubio or someone like that. I really think Trump just wants to be the kingmaker. But the one thing, does he have billions? Yes. Has he always been mocked by the political establishment, the establishment in general? Yes. And maybe he feels he'll be taken in more by them. I don't know. But I don't see him. I will be very, very surprised if he winds up being the nominee.
Okay.
But
I don't want any. Look at that crowd of them. And
I know.
Cruz, I find worse than Trump, and Rubio, I'm sorry.
Well, the only one I could, but I'm going to vote the Democratic no matter who it is.
Well, sure.
But, Kucinich is at least a moderate of some sort.
Kucinich?
But you're right. The rest of them, it's embarrassing that we look at these debates as forms of entertainment. It's like you're kind of missing Jon Stewart hosting The Daily Show, and this is kind of taking its place. And that's what's happening.
Oh, dear God in heaven. No, I know. He's turned Cruz and Fox have single-handedly turned our national election into a frigging... It's like The Bachelor.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Oh,
but I'm just saying to you,
dear.
Don't think if Sanders did get it, which I know with against Hillary, it is a super long shot.
Total.
Yeah, but like I said, what happened this past weekend, we're still shaking our heads about. So I'm just giving you some hope.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh dear. I keep saying oh dear. If I say oh dear one more time, just call me out. Really. Okay, can I go back to the subject I wanted to do because it's not about these scary things? It's about how in these scary times, when people are uncertain and nervous, we're easy marks. Well, I think that's obvious from just the way these Republicans are playing the electorate. They see us all as easy marks. Tell us what we want to hear, manipulate us, and then, have at us, whatever. Anyway, there's a book out called The Confidence Game, and it is about cons and why, it's specifically about why humans fall for, that we all do. We all are capable of falling for a con of some sort. And in part, besides the pound and a half of goose poop a day, this was another little factoid I came across that blew my mind. According to some study that was done, humans fail to tell the truth, lie an average of 3 times during a routine 10-minute conversation with a stranger or acquaintance. We lie 3 times in 10 minutes? I'm thinking, But then you start realizing the little lies that we tell all the time just to, for starting right off the bat. Hi, how are you? Fine. That's a lie, right? I mean, we might lie when we answer that. And then, how you doing? 1 lie, fine. 2, blah, blah, blah. Or just to start the conversation, you say, oh, wow, I love what you've done to your hair. You don't, really. Lie 2. I mean, it could easily. Because when you're having one of those conversations, you really don't want, you just want to have them go smoothly, so you agree to things you don't agree with, you hand out compliments that are less than honest, you withhold information, whatever. Apparently, we all lie a lot. If you didn't lie a lot, if you simply told the truth, you wouldn't have a friend in the world. You'd be considered rude. And I would think, So, con artists, knowing that we're well versed in fudging truth, just take it up a little bit of a level. And they're good psychologists. They know things about human beings, which is one, that we like to believe in a story that sounds compelling. Once we accept some story that we're being told, it's hard for us to be dislodged from believing in it, even if things occur which should be red flags or give us pause. We stick with it because, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, but there's some kind of a bias that sets into our judgment because we initially signed off on whatever the initial story is. Also, the reason con artists thrive during times of upheaval is because what they are always selling, in a nutshell, is hope. They're suggesting that something, they can do something for you. There's always a sense of hope. And this sort of much more ascendant human emotion of hope and belief. And they couple that with our baser human emotion of greed. Huh? It's not looking good for us, no. So, con artists are not just master manipulators of humans and their psychology. They're good readers of body language, behavior, all kinds of stuff. And they also are expert storytellers. So they're the best liars, the greatest liars. And once we initially believe them or decide we'll believe them because we want to believe them, pretty much you're gone. They got you. Anyway, that's a book out called The Confidence Game, Why We Fall for It. And apparently it's pretty good if you're into that kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm thinking of that. Oh, God, the 1.5 pounds of crap reminded me of the Republicans. The confidence game and scamming reminded me of the Republicans and of politicians in general. Speaking of geese, Kathleen writes, thanks for the information. Now I understand why my dad would say jokingly to me, you're as full of shit as a goose. See? He knew. He told me that they were so stupid that they can only find their way back by following their poop. I don't know if that's true. But it sure goes in one end and right out the other with them. Actually, when I read the thing about the goose poop, I had a flashback. I had a flashback to a horrific experience I had in Palm Springs, California, maybe in the 80s. My parents had a place there, and I'd gone to visit them, and I'd taken with me someone you might know, Sally Wiggin. And Sally and I was showing her around this place they lived, and there were swans and lakes and geese and stuff, and there was a beautiful pond, and there were some swans in it and some geese walking around, and I don't know which one of us started walking down toward the water, but we did, and then we sat down in the grass. Let me amend that. We sat down in what looked like grass, but was in fact a field of swan and goose shit. Oh my God! It was on my hands, it was on my everything. Oh God! If you have that many birds around, and they love water, and they love the nice little grass, and it's just a huge, goose poop place. Oh, God, I'll never forget. You go, and they're mean as hell, too, man. They can come at you with the swans. They're scary. I was chased from one of those ponds by a swan. You feel like a fool running from a bird, but it's a big bird, and it had teeth. Do birds have teeth?
It hurts when they bite you.
It hurts when you bite, so they must have teeth, huh?
They have like
little
ridges.
needly things or something. Ridges.
They're also incredibly aggressive.
All right. Jack writes, Lynn, I agree that Bernie has way too many disqualifiers to be elected nationally. I hope he sees that he has driven Hillary slightly, or maybe even more, to the left of center. I truly think that was his original purpose for running. He may have been more surprised. It's true. He and Trump have something in common. He may have been more surprised how well he is doing, especially fundraising. I think they're both surprised, Trump and him. But I hope he knows that he will need to find a way to encourage the young voters that are just coming to him to come to the aid of the party's nominee, which will be Clinton, because he knows that without that young vote, or without energizing that young vote, the result may be too close for comfort. I agree with you. Absent what Obama had, she's not going to reconfigure that Obama coalition. African Americans are not going to flock to Hillary Clinton in the numbers that they did to Barack Obama. And young people are not going to be wowed, believe me, by somebody who looks like their mother, sounds like their mother, and is just establishment all the way, is not going to go to her either. And they're going to, like young people do, be pissed as hell if their candidate, Bernie Sanders, doesn't get the nomination. And they might, do what young people can do a lot, which is have a snit fit and absolutely refuse. If he's not on the ballot, I'm not voting. I'm very fearful of that, of young people lacking the passion. You see the passion, they've got it for burn. They're feeling the burn now. They sure as hell ain't feeling who my son calls Hill Dog. Oh, God. No, but Jack, you're right on here. And by the way, Jack writes, regarding your caller and his discussion of how the president and race in relation to the vote, how the president, you might have, I don't know. Just look locally, and the vote in the primary in 2008 in Fayette County. Well, you're going to have to remind me of that, because I don't know. Fayette County went heavily for Clinton. Oh, sure, in the primary in 2008. You know why that is. Because she at least was white. I'm serious. It's not because there's a huge band of feminists in Fayette County. Fayette went heavily for Clinton in the primary in 2008, and then for the first time since Nixon in 72, Fayette County voted for Romney. They went Republican. That is correct. That is because they won't vote for a black man. Yeah. Sad, but the same thing would happen, believe me. A black man, a New York Jew man who's also a socialist is the same thing. I mean, forget it. Those are people who are feared, or that there are stereotypes of that are so in the bone in so many people. They've generation after generation after generation after generation grown up, with certain views of black men and of Jews, and it's just a constant. It's a constant. I worry. I'm worrying about her. I am. Okay. Did I ever talk about something? Here's something I want to talk about, too. By the way, remember when I said earlier in the week how Duquesne University is telling its poor students who live in their dorms that if their roommate, for some reason, didn't return from Christmas break, dropped out, that they are responsible for filling the empty bed, or else they've got to pay more money to stay in a double room? Today's the day. Friday was the deadline. Today is the day. They have not backed down. Today is the day all these poor kids are scrambling around. By the way, all of the beds available in the dorms at Duquesne were not full. So where are they supposed to? I mean, this is insanity. It's despicable. There's a quote from some kid who says, I'm supposed to be doing my schoolwork now. I'm so stressed out. I'm running around looking for a room. Why should he have to look for a roommate? He was a freshman. When you come into college, they pair you up with somebody and throw you in a room? Well, you don't have. Anyway. And it says here that Duquesne officials did not respond to repeated request by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette to discuss this. They won't even talk to the media.
We should start renting out rooms to renters.
Yeah.
Just like adults.
Why don't they just, sign up on Airbnb and stuff? Yeah, come on. You can rent those dorm rooms out. Be a little entrepreneurial, you creeps. Because what the paper's reporting is that 8% of the available dorm beds were unfilled last semester. Unfilled. And now that means that there's not enough of the kids don't want to live in the dorms. They're living off campus. Oh, God. Well, anyway, that's just so annoying. It's beyond belief. What is it with Duquesne? Their administration just seems tone deaf and arrogant and just really awful. Okay. Can we handle one more story of governmental and Republican malfeasance? A caller, I think last week, brought up the horror in Flint, Michigan. I don't know if it's getting as much media as it should. Since I have now signed off, I really don't watch television news much at all. So I only know what's covered in the newspapers. And I don't know, it hasn't gotten great coverage. But let's just understand that Flint, Michigan, town of about 100,000 people, town that was a mighty industrial town that's been through what a lot of towns have. When the auto industry went down, Flint went down. Wasn't Flint when Roger Moore's first, Michael Moore's first documentary about where he's looking for the head of GM? What's the name of it? Something about Roger. The thing about Roger. I think it was Flint, Michigan. So that's been a down and out town for a long time. It's overwhelmingly African American and poor. So the town's got not much going for it at the moment. And the Republican governor, the Tea Party-ish governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, got a law passed, which then the voters resoundingly said we don't want through a referendum, and then he somehow finagled it right back in. A law passed where he would be able to take over struggling towns and appoint one of his buddies to run the place. Well, that's what he did with Flint. The people of Flint used to get their drinking water from the same source as Detroit did, Lake Huron. When the governor's guy came in to run Flint, he said, we can save some money here we're just going to get our water right here out of the Flint River. Now, the Flint River was like, it's an industrial town, and the Flint River was an industrial river. And so they started, the people of Flint turn on their faucets, and they're getting now their water. The water smelled. The water was sort of a strange brownish kind of a color, but it was their water. People drank it. These are people who aren't going to have the resources to maybe go buy water when they have water. Anyway, so we find out that the Michigan State Health Department knew over a year ago that the water the people of Flint were drinking had dangerously high levels of lead in it. The children were ingesting this lead, and they did not warn the people. They said nothing. So now we have a whole bunch of kids in Flint, Michigan, who could be brain damaged. because that's what lead does to a developing little brain. Because, New York Times reports today, because of what the state did to that poor city, probably the entire water distribution system in Flint will need to be replaced now. Guess what? At a cost of minimally $1.5 billion. And not only that, before the lawsuits start flying, the state of Michigan now, because of the wondrous abilities of this Republican government, is going to have to probably pay a lot of damages for the lead poisoning of these children and others, because these kids are going to need to be monitored. They're going to need nutritional support. They're going to possibly, God forbid, need special education to mitigate the harm that was caused by this totally man-made horror. Totally man-made catastrophe brought to you by Republicans who really don't see any value in a little depressed town, 100,000 people, mostly African American and poor, and they thought they could go cheap on them. They're going to grab their government, and then they're going to let their children get poisoned, and their health department even knows it and doesn't tell them. Is this not the kind of thing people should be jailed for? The harm they have done? In September, an outside expert reported high levels of lead in the water, and a local medical center found high levels of lead in the blood of many, many children. State environmental officials belittled these findings, criticized the researchers, and told the public to relax, that the water was perfectly safe. Because if there's one thing that we know, if you have a Republican administration in power, they don't listen to scientists. They belittle the scientists. They tell the public, pay no attention to those alarmists. We got your back. While they're poisoning your children. This story, Republicans in power, in a nutshell. Right there in that story. You can bet Governor Snyder put in charge of Michigan's Environmental Protection Agency, whatever it is there. You can bet he put someone in power who does not believe in the mission of an Environmental Protection Agency, which is that you protect not only the environment, but the people. Republicans don't give a shit about the environment or those people. Those people don't vote for them. Poor black people, let their kids die. Am I being too harsh? I don't know. Oh, there's got to be something fun we can talk about before we end this show. There's got to be something fun. What? 5 minutes I have?
5 minutes to make it good.
5 minutes to pull us out of this despond. What's wrong?
Did you hear?
What? Okay, yeah, here. Wait.
Mic myself.
Go ahead, Celine. Did I hear what?
Here's something nice that the internet's blowing up about over the last day. Did you hear about the farm in Virginia that is asking for volunteers to cuddle its baby goats?
No. And there's 500 million volunteers.
Everyone wants to cuddle baby goats.
Well, it'd be nice if you lived near the baby goats. But I mean, it's...
It would be nice if I could get in my car and go.
Oh, you need to cuddle. I need a baby goat. Oh, did you see the video of the speaking of baby goats, there was also a video of a baby goat so happy. Did you see that?
So cute.
They're jumping on all fours. They jump straight up into the air. He's like jumping. It is so cute. That was out there a few days ago. Oh, that internet. And then, speaking of the internet, that's right. Oh, this is sort of sad. Did you see the picture that was going around about the kangaroo holding its dying mate with... And the mate's like this, and he's holding it, and the little Joey, the little kid, is like
We've gone back into sad.
right there. I know, but so people were, oh my God, look at that, he's trying to, oh God, look at the, it's all over the internet, and then a scientist. They're such Debbie Downers. I'll tell you. The scientist says, excuse me, what you are looking at here is an aroused male. And he draws attention to the scrotum area of the aroused male. And apparently when kangaroos are mating, they can get pretty sort of violent. And the scientist said, I think what you're looking at here is an attempted, a sexual foray gone wrong. He's saying the guy who the kangaroo's cuddling his wife is probably a guy who, with her little baby right there with her, tried to mate with her and killed her. And not meaning to, but killed her. And he's just holding her up. He's still aroused. And it's so funny how, okay, so here's that initial picture, and you're saying, and then you find out it's a picture that is quite a totally different thing. The internet. God. So that was a negative again, huh? Okay, you got any thing better than cuddling baby goats?
No, what's better than that?
We got 2 minutes. I'm sorry, but that you reminded me of that, the kangaroo story. Oh my God. Scientists, such killjoys. Ooh. What?
This is not happy, but Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman. We didn't mention his passing yesterday, and yeah, really good actor. The favorite movie of his, I don't know. I think as actually I didn't watch all the Harry Potter movies, but I mean, I just loved him. And then he did one of the Austin movies, didn't he? Wasn't he some period piece where he was marvelous? I mean, he was wonderful in anything he did. Damn cancer. Okay, wait, we got some emails. Hello, Lynn. This is David in the Strip. I had called earlier this week. Just a small note. The Democratic establishment is just as afraid of Bernie as the Republican establishment is afraid of Trump or Cruz. They will never let Bernie be nominated. I think maybe they would like someone else, but are stuck with Hillary. Yeah. But the people, it clearly is not your usual kind of election. The people are restive. It's why Donald Trump is doing so well. It's why Bernie Sanders is doing so well. Ed writes, Lynn, isn't the real issue in Flint that the water has lead in it? Yeah. Someone downstream is going to be drinking that water before the people whether the people in Flint are drinking it or not. I don't know. Are we? Wait. Okay, I think that's it. I just want to get all your comments in if I can. So we screwed up, huh? Oh, you thought just to make things a little better, you'd bring up the fact that Alan Rickman died?
Well, that's a good actor. It's turtles all the way down, Lynn. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, okay, and he's yeah. Okay. I fucked up. What can I do? I'm sorry. I am so mea culpa. I'm really sorry. So watch, if you're still into it, watch these football games. I think the Steelers are going to be killed. I think my Green Bay Packers too are going to be killed. And so I should arrive on Monday thoroughly depressed. And Monday's my birthday, too. You know that? Yeah.
Your 30th?
39. Right. Okay, guys, really, seriously, have a good one, and I'm really sorry. Please. I'm sorry.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.